Hello students, again I am back with another video which is going to explain science concept of class 9, that is chapter 1, matter in our surrounding. Clear students? So we are going to start with this chapter 1, matter in our surrounding. Students, to understand this particular chapter, first thing is we should understand what actually matter is. You have already studied about matter in your lower class. That is, matter is anything that is occupying space. It also has certain mass. Clear? So anything what you see around you, your notebook, even the mobile by which you are seeing this particular video, or maybe your laptop, air, your notebook, even your own body, which is going to occupy certain space. So we say that all these are made up of some or another kind of matter. This matter is made up of very small tiny particles, and the property of this tiny particle is each and every particles, they are continuously moving. They also have some space between the two particles. There will be some space. Again, how much space, that depends on the type of the matter what we are talking about. And these two particles, they also attract each other. Clear? Now this characteristic we are going to talk a little bit in detail in our next slide. Okay, so let us go to the next slide. Particles of matter are continuously moving. Students, when we say it is the object or the particle is moving, meaning it is possessing kinetic energy. If it doesn't have energy, it won't be able to move. So all the particles of matter is possessing kinetic energy. These particles, students, they vibrate to and fro on their mean position. So from external, if you supply certain energy, then this energy is going to increase, and they start vibrating more faster, with greater energy. So when we raise the temperature, then that is when we heat the substance. Heating is nothing but it is a form of energy. So it had already vibrational energy, or that we can say kinetic energy. In addition to that, you have added the heat energy. So obviously the total amount of energy has increased, and hence the particle starts moving even with a greater energy, and because of which they are going to strike with or push the particle which is very next to it. Okay, the movement in the particle, that is the three state of matter, that is solid, liquid, gas. The movement in solid will be minimum, because in solid the particles are very close to each other, while in liquid the particles are little away from each other, and gases, the particles are very far from each other, so they are having much more interparticle space, so they have enough space for the movement. Okay, so in solid the movement is minimum, in liquid compared to solid it is more, while in gases it is maximum. Clear, students? So let us go to the next property, that is the space between the particles of matter. As I just told you, for solid the space is minimum, that is they are very close to each other. In liquid the space is little more compared to that of solid, and gases it is maximum. So what happens when you are adding salt, okay, sodium chloride, to water is liquid and sodium chloride is solid. So this sodium chloride is soluble, it is soluble in water. Afterwards you won't be able to see any salt. Then where did this salt go? It is not seen in the glass, that is in water, that is solution. So what has happened is this sodium chloride has broken down into its ionic form Na plus and Cl minus, and because there is space between particles in liquid it is more, so whatever space is between the two particles, their sodium ion or chlorine ion is say placing itself. So it is just getting mixed in the water in which it is dissolved. Okay, so particles of matter is having space between them. The next property is particles of matter attract each other, meaning in continuity. If we remove one particular particle, then it is going to pull the next particle along with it. The second one is going to pull the third one, and third one will be pulling the fourth one along with it, and hence we get a continuity of the matter. Okay, and that is what we say flow. So the particles of matter in solid, they are attracting maximum. Okay, that is the force of attraction is maximum in the particles of solid. In liquid, it is intermediate यानी कि average, while in gases it is negligible. The particles are not attracting each other. Okay, yeah, if there is some force, then it will be very, very less. And based on these three property, I have just made a table which is showing you the difference between the state of matter, that is solid, liquid and gas. In the molecular structure or a particle structure, if you see in solid, you can see the blue colored dots which are the particles of solid. They are very close to each other. Okay, while the same particle in liquids, you can see the space between them, it is spreaded. While in gas, in the same volume, okay, same oval shape, so in the same volume you can see in solid the number of particles are many more, while if you just count out those blue circles, in solid it is maximum, while the same volume the particles, that is the blue structure, ball like structure, there will be less, while very few in gas, meaning density wise solid is having more density, liquid has an intermediate, while gas is having minimum. The space you can see, okay, comparative idea. So solid are having definite shape, liquid do not have definite shape, but it occupies the shape of the container in which it is filled, while gas do not have any shape. Solid is having distinct boundaries, meaning you can hard and fast it, separate it out, the solids. While for liquid there is no definite boundaries, and for gas also, because the space between the particles of liquid and gas, it is more. Solids are rigid, liquid can flow, and gas also can flow. It can easily pass from one point to another. Incompressible, meaning if you apply pressure, then the size cannot be reduced, compressed. Okay, while liquid can be compressed but only to certain extent, while gas can be compressed in much more or larger amount. Solids having definite volume, liquid also definite volume, but gas do not have definite volume, because the gaseous particle will spread out in whatever space they get. Okay, so because they do not have greater intermolecular force of attraction. So the next is, how can we change this state of matter, that is solid, liquid and gas? Students, these states, they are interchangeable. Solid can be converted to liquid, and liquid can be changed to gas, and vice versa, gas can be converted to liquid, and liquid also can be converted to solid. Okay, this state of matter can be changed by two factors, by bringing change in the temperature and also by bringing change in the pressure. How the temperature has to be changed for changing the state of matter from solid to liquid and liquid to gas, or vice versa, and how pressure has to be changed, that we are going to discuss in the next slides. Okay, so by changing the temperature, that is when you are going to heat, I have already talked about this. When you are going to heat, meaning you are supplying extra energy. So already the solid particles are having kinetic energy, and when you heat it, the amount of kinetic energy is increasing, and hence they start vibrating with a greater force, greater energy. So what happens is, it is going to push the particles which are side by it with certain force, and thus left and right, you just keep on applying force, so the distance between the particle will increase and the solid the particle state will change to the liquid state. The molecular or the arrangement from solid changes to liquid, and when still if you go on applying, still the particles push the molecule which is on the either side and increase the space, and thus it tends to move towards gaseous state. Now whatever amount of energy you have given, if you take it back, so the amount of energy reduces, so the vibrational energy or the energy by which it was vibrating also reduces, and thus the molecule come closer to each other, meaning the gas is now getting converted to liquid. Again still if you just keep on taking away the energy what we are supplied, then again the amount of energy with the energy by which it was vibrating or it was moving will get reduced, and thus the liquid molecular arrangement will get move towards solid. So vice versa, by increasing temperature you can convert solid to liquid and liquid to gas, and by reducing or taking away the heat energy, gas can be converted to liquid and liquid can be converted to solid. Students, for all the solid, certain amount of energy is always required for converting the solid matter to liquid. So conversion of solid to liquid is called melting. So the temperature at which the solid substance starts melting, that temperature is called its melting point. Initially it will be using up the energy to overcome the molecular bond of attraction, because it has to increase the space between the two molecules so that it can change into the molecular structure or the atomic structure of liquid state. So initially whatever energy you supply is going to be used by the molecule to overcome the molecular bond of attraction, but once it overcomes it, then the solid start changing to liquid. Okay, so this particular temperature is said to be its melting point. All the solid are having different melting point, and the amount of heat that is required for 1 kg of solid to get converted into liquid state is called its latent heat. Okay, it is called latent heat of fusion. In common word or simple word, it is also known as hidden heat. Why do we say hidden heat? That is, it is just because you can see in the diagram, when we are heating the solid substance, a thermometer is kept in the beaker. When the say the substance is in the solid state, whatever heat you are supplying, you will see that the temperature rise will be seen in the thermometer. But the moment the solid start getting converted to liquid, okay, the energy now is going to get used up for the conversion process, and hence it won't be seen on the thermometer. The temperature becomes constant when it reaches to its melting point. Once the substance is getting completely converted to liquid, and then whatever energy or heat you are going to supply, that will be seen again back on the thermometer. Clear? So the heat required for the conversion of 1 kg of solid to liquid state, that is called latent heat of fusion. In the same way, when we want to convert liquid into gas, okay, that time also say there will be latent heat or the energy required will be there. Okay, so now the liquid is changing to gaseous state. That will be when you are going to, when does the liquid change to gaseous state? When it start boiling. Okay, so the temperature at which the liquid starts boiling. Boiling में क्या होता है? The liquid is getting changed to gas. Okay, so when you boil water, water is getting changed to water vapor. Okay, otherwise it will be just hot water. So the temperature at which the liquid starts getting converted to gaseous form, that is starts boiling, that is known as boiling temperature. As I just discussed about the latent heat for fusion, okay, that is solid to liquid, the same way 1 kg of liquid requires certain amount of energy for getting converted to gaseous state. So over here, this amount of energy that is required for the change of 1 kg liquid to gaseous state is known as latent heat of vaporization. Okay students, let us go to the next slide. Sublimation. Now there are few certain matter which, so this is before this what we have understood is when solid is heated it gets converted to liquid, and liquid then heated it converted to gas. It means if a solid has to get converted to gaseous form, compulsorily it has to pass through liquid state. But there are few solids which without undergoing liquid state directly changes to gaseous state. Such type of substances are called sublimable substances. Okay, so sublimation, the change of solid directly to vapor on heating and vapor into solid on cooling without passing through liquid state is called sublimation. The example of sublimable substances are camphor, ammonium chloride, naphthalene ball. You know what is naphthalene ball? The white color balls which are kept in the woolen clothes for preserving. Okay, so those are now called naphthalene ball. In Gujarati we say damani gori. Okay, now the next factor that is affecting the change in the state of matter is pressure. Students, when we apply pressure, we are bringing the molecule closer to each other. Okay, so if you are applying say pressure to gas, the gaseous molecule are away from each other. So by applying pressure, you are going to bring the molecule closer to each other, meaning it is going to move towards the liquid arrangement. Okay, so by increasing pressure, you can convert gas to liquid, and still if you increase pressure, still the molecules are going to come closer and it will move towards the arrangement of solid state. So by increasing pressure, you can convert gas to liquid and liquid to solid, and vice versa. If you decrease pressure, lower pressure, then again the pressure on the solid molecules, solid particle is going to reduce, and thus they'll start moving apart, and thus it is going to move towards the arrangement of liquid. And if you decrease pressure on liquid, it will change to gas. So see the difference, students. By increasing pressure, we are converting gas to liquid and liquid to solid, while in temperature, by increasing temperature, we were converting solid to liquid and liquid to gas. Okay, so it's opposite. Remember, students. The next is, what is evaporation? Evaporation, that is the conversion of liquid to gaseous state without change in temperature, without any supply of heat, that is without reaching to its boiling point. Okay, so at a temperature less than boiling point, if liquid is getting converted to its vapor state, we say it is evaporation. Okay, the rate of evaporation depends upon 4 main factors, that is exposed surface area. If the surface area is more, then the rate of evaporation will be more. Temperature, the more the temperature, less will be the intermolecular force of attraction, and hence liquid will be able to get converted to gaseous form easily. Humidity, it is inversely affecting, because if there is more humidity, what is humidity, student? Presence of moisture in the surrounding or the air. So if there is more of humidity, the temperature of the surrounding is going to be less, and just we have discussed that is more the temperature, more will be the evaporation. But over here, due to more humidity, the temperature is going to be less, and if less temperature, then the evaporation rate will be slower. So only for humidity it is inverse, that is more humidity, less will be the rate of evaporation. Wind, more blowing of wind, it is just going to carry away the vaporized particle or the gaseous form particle along with it, and hence it is just going to wipe away, keep on wiping the particle. So the rate of evaporation is going to be more for three factors: if there is more surface area, more temperature and more blowing wind. But only for humidity factor, the rate of evaporation will be less if there is more of humidity. Is that clear? So this is all about today's topic. So we'll meet next video. Okay, till then just be safe and study well. Students, if you have liked this particular video, then see that to remain in touch, you subscribe my channel so that you can get the notification of my new videos that are uploaded. Clear, students? So bye bye till we meet for the next video.